Hello, my name is Ameet Dhillon, and I'm Managing Director of U.S. Africa Housing Finance. And I have today with me a really special guest, Bilal Cyrus, who goes by Cyrus. And Cyrus actually happens to be an active investor in USAHF. And so I wanted to talk to him today about his experience. So welcome, Cyrus. Looking forward to talking to you.
Hello, good morning.
So, hey, Cyrus, tell me, first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself, maybe your background, just, in 10, 15 seconds or so.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in the United States. I'm a former non-commissioned officer of the Air Force. Currently, I hold an executive position with a small private business in the human services sector. And I'm married with 7 children. My wife is from Guinea as well.
Oh, you okay? That's right. I forgot. Yeah, your wife's from Guinea. So, one thing I should mention about Cyrus, in addition to being an investor in USHF, and actually this came before, he's also purchased a home from USHF's partner, Jobomax. And I had forgotten that your wife is from Guinea. So I assume, is that the reason why you decided to purchase the house from Jobomax? Because of course, Jobomax is extremely active in terms of development in Guinea.
Well, yes. To make a long story short, or maybe even longer, I had the opportunity to do some globe trotting, if you will, in the early 2000s, which eventually resulted in me getting married in Guinea-Conakry. Now, fast forward about 10 years, we eventually returned to Guinea, seeking to purchase land and build a home. However, in an all too familiar scenario of mismanagement of funds, that endeavor failed.
I've heard that one before. Yeah, that's a common theme, unfortunately.
Exactly. But while I was there, I watched a video, or not a video. I noticed a billboard, in Conakry, from a company that was then called American Home Builders West Africa, which is now Jobomax.
Right. That was their previous name, I believe, Jobomax.
Right. And but I hesitated, due to my failed experience in trying to get a home built over there. But eventually, I looked them up and contacted them in 2019. And then in 2020, I started making a down payment towards my first property.
Okay. And this is in Dumboya, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah. Just for those who are not familiar, Jobomax has multiple developments, not only in Guinea-Conakry, but also in Sierra Leone and moving towards Ghana as well. But yeah, okay. This is with the main site there in Dumboya. I've actually been there. I was there in late 2019 myself.
Okay. I probably cross paths at one point.
Might have been, yeah, might have even been at the same time. But I guess at that time, of course, we didn't know each other because you were just involved with Jobomax. And I'm assuming at that point you never even heard of U.S. Africa Housing Finance, right? You had no clue about us.
No, not at that point. Not at that point.
Okay.
Because I was so impressed by Jobomax and my experience there at the construction site. Later on, I decided to invest in USAHF after looking at the information that's provided on the website.
So that's an interesting one, Cyrus. So let me just make sure I got this right. So obviously you were engaged with Jobomax. You bought the house, and then you got a loan, of course, from them. I assume the standard 10-year, 12% US dollar denominated loan. And then did you just, I think you told me this story, but you were just curious as to, well, wait a minute, who's underwriting this loan? Where do these funds come from? And that's, I think, when you reached out to me, correct?
Right. Well, let me say that I've always wanted to have some sort of stake in the continent, as an African American, I feel as it's a birthright. So when I started looking up USAHF, I noticed that, what they had a non-exploitative approach,
right,
which, I was very attracted to. In fact, I was, in tune with the vision of the social economic development, that's going on in West Africa, and their interest in helping with that development.
Right.
And that just led me to look further into USAHF.
Right. So
Yeah.
Is it fair to say, Cyrus, that I mean, obviously you had faith in USHF because, of course, you came in a non-traditional route, meaning you had purchased a home and then you learned about USHF. So, the 9% return that we offer, I know you find that attractive, but is it fair to say that this, I like to call it social impact, or sort of the social value that this partnership provides? Was that an attractive factor to you?
Very much so. Very, very much so. If I could have done it on my own, I would have, try to contribute.
Right.
However, seeing what has already been in place and seeing that the visions were parallel, I said, hey, why try to reinvent the wheel? I'm gonna jump on this bandwagon and ride it all the way. So that's what led us to this conversation that we're having today.
Well, as managing director of USHF, I'm very grateful that you did that, because as you and I have talked about before, I'm always looking for people that want a fair return on their money. 9%. You're a businessman, so you expect a return, but at the same time, who appreciate that, hey, this investment is about more than just the dollars that I can make. There is real impact on the ground in West Africa, and you're in a very unique position to see that, because you're not only an investor in USHF, but you've purchased a home there. You've seen what impact on the local community that has, that purchase. And, it's not just you, obviously, it's the entire neighborhood that's being built.
Right. Moreover, when I was there in 2021, no, I'm sorry, when I was there earlier this year, 2023, and I was told by one of the residents that the local restaurant that we were eating at had seen a significant increase in revenue due to the activity surrounding, the restaurant. So, right. That was just like, wow, you can really see the impact that is being made due to the fact of this housing development in this community. So everyone is able to eat, per se.
Yeah. No, and of course I've seen it myself. And I mean, let's be very frank. I think you would agree with this. Doesn't take a genius to figure out that that's going to happen, right?
Right.
When you have more people that come in, you've got housing activity. Obviously, you need restaurants, and you've actually seen the area more recently than I have. I know it's probably quite a bit more built out. Naturally, that's going to lead to restaurants and various different services, which are going to employ people and so forth. You don't need to be a PhD economist to figure that out. That's just the way it's going to be. So Cyrus, I wanted to just clarify something for readers here. So, you're not being, paid or in any way by USHF to endorse this, right? This is, something you're doing just because you believe in this. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, it's very accurate. It's a very accurate assessment. I promoted USHF / Jobomax to friends and family on the strength of my personal experience only. I understand that there is a housing deficit on the continent. And there's a high demand for good quality, affordable housing. So, I trust that USHF / Jobomax is on the right path to meet those demands. And so I tell folks about it.
Okay. No, that's great. Yeah. I mean, obviously, as you know very well, USHF's been around for, next March will be 7 years, and Jobomax even longer than that. I think coming up on probably close to a decade. So
right.
We hope to continue to do these things for a long time. So a couple more questions for you, if I could, Sarah. So and you and I've kind of talked about this before. So it took me almost, let's say 4.5, 5 years to get my first African diasporan, or for that matter, even African American. And you're kind of both, right? So you're African American yourself, and your wife is diasporan, meaning she grew up in Guinea. It took me, 4.5, 5 years to get my first, such investor. Any thoughts as to why that might be? Like, why it took so long for people to sort of, come around, so to speak? Maybe that's not the right way to put it, but
right. Well, I can think of maybe two reasons. One, I hadn't seen or heard any promotion from the sister companies. So who knows if I wouldn't have been in Guinea-Conakry, if we would be having this conversation right now.
You kind of just saw it by chance, right? Just driving
by chance. Yeah, on my way from point A to point B.
Right.
and I witnessed the billboard. So again, I had my reservations in the beginning, but after my failed attempt, I said, well, let me go ahead and give these guys a shot. And so
I'm glad you did, by the way.
yeah, I'm glad. I'm probably more glad than you are.
All right.
But yeah, so if it hadn't been being in that location, I probably would never heard of Jobomax at this point.
Right.
And also, you know, I can say that some people who may have heard of Jobomax, that maybe, you know, their previous experiences, you know, dealing with trust keeps them from investing. So
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head here. It's a trust
yeah,
thing, largely.
yes, it's all about trust, you know, plain and simple. You know, it was a slow process for me to really feel confident in what I was doing, even though I had put my down payment in, and you know, and I was seeing, you know, things look legitimate, but you just never truly know. But when I went to the construction site and I visited the office in Guinea-Conakry, I said, "Oh, yeah, this is all real stuff." You know,
It looked legit, huh?
yeah, it looked legit. You know, I said,
Right.
yeah, I would have been really surprised if this was all a fugazi. You know?
I'll tell Bob and Jonathan at Jobomax that, hey, you guys have built a legit business there.
Right, right.
They better have, because I'm financing what they're building. So if they're
Right.
not legit, I'm gonna have a problem too. So
We're in
um,
good hands.
yeah. All right. Well, Cyrus, hey, you know, it was great chatting with you. You know, I want to give you a chance, you know, if there are any other thoughts that you want to leave, you know, our listeners with. And actually, I'll also say, you know, if people wanted to reach out to you, you know, is there a way for them to do that?
Well, to answer the first question, I would say when it comes to investing or even purchasing a home, you want to strike while the iron's hot. Monitor what's going on in Africa. There's a lot of trends going on in regards to real estate development, innovation and technology. The entertainment business is booming. Things are really happening on the continent. I would tell folks to visit the continent,
Right.
whether it be for your first time or you're a diasporan that hasn't been home in more than 10 years. You
Right.
know, things have changed. You need to see what's going on. So, you know, invest in Africa, you know, because the economies are undergoing transformation, unprecedented transformation.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
And then, you know, as far as anyone who would like to hear more about my personal experience, because again, I'm not being endorsed in any form or fashion from USAHF, they can contact me on my personal website, not personal website, personal Facebook page.
Okay.
Yes, under Bilal Cyrus, BILAL CYRUS.
Okay.
Or via email. That would be cyrusxls@icloud.com.
So
And I can
CYRUSXLS@icloud.com.
correct. Thank you for that. And then lastly, WhatsApp. Country code 1 if you're calling outside the country, which I doubt. But then area code 412-376-7073.
All right. Well, I appreciate you opening up many avenues for conversation. Hopefully, you don't get flooded with too many people.
Would be a bad thing.
Or actually, maybe we hope you do, because
right.
You know, obviously, we want people to hear your story and really understand what we're doing. But anyway, Cyrus, I can't thank you enough. It's been a great conversation, and you know, we won't record it next time. But needless to say, you and I will keep the conversations going for a long, long time to come.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Take care, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Take care.